It's never been harder to sell homes or remodeling jobs than it is right now. If you're in sales and you're losing sleep, it's not because you don't know how to sell, it's because the ground keeps shifting under your feet. And you're still expected to perform like nothing's changed. Look, I get it. Traffic is down, discounts are up, buyers act like they've got all the time in the world. But I want you to hear this clearly. You are not the problem. Your old process, your old thinking is the problem, because you're trying to sell today's skeptical buyer using yesterday's predictable buyer strategy. Look, I have spent over 20 years coaching sales professionals just like you, and I've trained more than 10,000 sales professionals across hundreds of builders, remodeling companies, roofing organizations, and I have seen booming markets, crashes, rate hikes, and slowdowns. And I can tell you this with complete certainty. Today's buyer doesn't lack information, they lack clarity, certainty, and confidence to move forward. So that's why in this video, I'm gonna personally show you one powerful tool that you can use right now called the Cost of Inaction Reset. It's a simple framework that shifts the conversation away from features, incentives, and price and helps buyers finally see the real cost of staying exactly where they are. So when you do this correctly, urgency stops being something you push and it becomes something the buyer feels. But before I give you the framework, we must understand the real cost of doing nothing. See, when a buyer says we're going to wait, it's not because they don't like what you're offering them or their future identity container or this future upgrade. It's not because they don't see your value, and it's not because they need more information. See, most of the time they're waiting because doing nothing feels safer than saying yes. So in today's market, buyers feel like waiting gives them control. They tell themselves a story, and that story is like, rates might come down, prices might drop, we can always decide later. Look, nothing bad happens if we wait. See, their brain labels waiting as safe. What's happening is their amygdala, that fight, flee, freeze mechanism, is actually hijacking them. See, they don't feel the cost of inaction immediately, so they underestimate it completely. And because of that, they stay stuck in uncertainty and housing stress and temporary living conditions and feeling behind where they thought they'd be right now in their life. And when sales professionals respond by dumping more features, more upgrades, more coupons, more discounts, more tacky incentives, it actually makes the problem worse. Why? Because features don't create urgency and incentives don't resolve uncertainty. Clarity does. See, the real cost of inaction in new home or remodeling sales isn't just financial, it's living another year in a home that no longer fits their future self, their future life. Maybe they're going through an empty nester type experience, or maybe they have a mother-in-law that's moving into their current home, or maybe their kids are becoming teenagers, and again, their home is not fitting their future self. But right now, it's about them putting their family plans on hold. It's about staying in a stressful commute or a cramped space, or putting their kids in a school district they don't want to keep them any longer. It's knowing that they almost moved forward but didn't. See, that's why buyers stall. Not because they're just looking or they're just getting information, but because no one has helped them clearly see what waiting is already costing them. And that's exactly what the Cost of Inaction Reset is designed to do. See, this tool that I'm about to show you does one powerful thing. It takes a buyer from passive, I'll think about it, to active, wait, I can see what doing nothing actually cost me. It breaks the trance of comfort zone thinking. So when you use this correctly, you help buyers uncover opportunity cost that they've been minimizing, emotional costs that they've been numbing, future regret that they're quietly avoiding, energy drain that comes from staying stuck. And here's the key NLP, neuro-linguistic programming principle or warrior principle that I want you to live by. And that's when the cost of staying the same becomes heavier than the discomfort of change, the movement happens naturally. You don't have to force them. Instead, you're just giving them permission. You don't have to push them. You're just getting the obstacles out of the way for them to naturally say yes. You don't create urgency. You actually unleash it. You reveal it. By the way, the cost of inaction reset is just one of the 7 psychological tools that buyers respond to in low urgency markets. And I personally teach the remaining 6 tools inside of the 5-4-3 factor conversion challenge. This is a 5-day, 1 hour a day live coaching experience, along with the mindset, scripts, language that you need to break buyer indecision. See, right now, we're all doing the best we can with the internal resources we have. And those internal resources are what we think about, which is our mindset, what we say, the words out of our mouth, and the behaviors to give our customers the confidence, motivation, open certainty to say yes today. So if you're tired of carrying this pressure alone and you're ready to take back control of your results, just click the link below and I'll see you on the inside. Now, let me walk you through the framework that I want you to pay close attention to here. This isn't a script that you memorize. It's a conversation flow that you guide. You need to become one with the script. The reason why scripts don't work is because we don't really believe in them and they're not a part of us. And so you need to make this a conversation flow that becomes one with you. And I will also tell you that it works because each step hits a different part of the buyer's decision-making process. All right, here we go. Step 1 is the reality check. This is where everything starts. You're not emotional yet. You're not persuasive yet. You're just helping the buyer look at reality. So here's the question that you can ask. Mr. Customer, if nothing changes, what does your situation look like over the next 90 days? Why 90? Because it's close enough to feel real, but far enough that they can answer honestly. See, this question, it collapses vague someday thinking and replaces it with facts. At this stage, you're not presenting your features, you're not presenting your solution. Again, you're just helping them see what's actually happening in their mind's eye. Step 2 is emotional cost. So once reality is clear, now we go deeper. You're going to ask them, what is the current situation costing you emotionally right now? I know you're going to have to own this question and you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone into the identity of that of a servant, of a leader, of a protector for you to feel strong to ask this question. They're not used to someone asking them this question, but I promise you, if you ask them, you're going to liberate them. You're going to set them free. See, right now, people make decisions based on how they feel. This was made famous by Tony Robbins and, of course, the emotional states that he teaches. But if people feel uncertain about something, then they don't do it. If they feel stuck, then obviously they don't do it. If they feel free, they don't do it. And so right now, we're asking them, what is it costing you emotionally to stay put? And so we want to bring to surface the emotional pain that's really going on. Is it creating uncertainty? Is it creating worry? Is it creating stress? Because the more we can get them to verbalize something, the more it actually has power over them. This is not a Jason Forrest thing. This is a biblical thing. Our word is a tongue. Our word has the ability to literally speak life and to speak death in ourselves and others. And so it's one thing for them to think about the emotional stress, but when they verbalize it, it literally creates power over their life to make a more resolved, wise decision. Now, if they hesitate, you can gently prompt them. You can give them multiple choice answers. You can say something like, is it causing you stress? Is it removing your confidence? Is it taking energy away from you? Is it affecting your sleep? Is it creating pressure and arguments in your family? See, this is where urgency begins to wake up, not in the mind, but in the body. because people don't move when they understand, they move when they feel. All right, step number 3 is the identity shift question. This, warriors, is the turning point. The question that you want to ask is, if you stay here, who do you have to keep being that you don't want to be? Wow, this is a powerful question, and people will tolerate inconvenience. They'll tolerate frustration. They'll even tolerate stress. But check this out. They won't tolerate becoming someone that they don't respect. This is where the conversation shifts from information to transformation. All right, step number 4, and that's the future regret. Now we bring time into the picture. So what you want to do now is you want to ask them, I need you to fast forward 1 year. What will you regret not changing today? What we're doing here is I need them to jump into their future self, and I need them to realize the cost of, again, not making that change. So this isn't fear of failure. This is fear of waking up and realizing, man, I knew better and I still didn't act. Like right now, even just pause the video and just think about decisions that you've paused on or you've hesitated on. And then later on, maybe a year later, you look back and you regretted not taking action. And if you would have knew what you knew then, today, the question is, would you have taken action? Would the life change for you? Would you have taken the right road versus the left road because you listened to your future self and you took action? Well, that's exactly what you're doing for your customers right now. Again, you're leading them, you're protecting them, and you're serving them for them to listen to their future self, not to their past self. Their past self is the self of worry. It's a self of fear. Their past self is when they're listening to their amygdala that's telling them to fight, flee, and freeze. Their amygdala is the oldest part of their brain, and it's the part that's going to kind of hold them back. It's the part of safety and certainty. We want them to speak from their prefrontal cortex, and that's their visionary side, their future self side, and we want to give space for that self to speak. See, what happens is in your brain, if your amygdala is lit up, then your prefrontal cortex is not lit up. So what that means is basically, from a simple term, is that we can't think in the future. We can't think future self, positivity, optimism, visionary thinking at the same time that we're stuck in fear and we're stuck in the past. And so what you're doing is not something to them right now. You're actually doing something for them, right? Again, you're allowing them permission to say, hey, let's say no to your past self that's going to leash you and hold you back. And instead, let's say yes to your future self. Again, the key to this is we want to make sure that they don't wake up and say, I knew better and I still didn't act. That's a much stronger motivator than price or rates or incentive or last one remaining, or if we don't do it today, you're going to miss out on blank. All of that stuff is very, very below you. It's very beneath you. And you know in your gut, it doesn't really work. And it's really what sales amateurs do. So right now, give yourself the gift of being a sales professional, a sales warrior that sells in a much higher consciousness. All right, step 5, and that's the cost of comparison. So here's the final question. Compare the discomfort of change to the cost of staying exactly where you are. Which one actually cost you more? This is the moment that most sales pros are missing. Right now, you got to stop talking. You don't justify, you don't pitch, you don't even use some sort of tacky closing technique. At this moment, if you've guided the process correctly, they answer the questions for themselves. And that truth is going to set them free. That truth is going to be the urgency from within that's going to get them to say yes to the decision that they need to make. And that's how you can walk a buyer through these 5 steps. Look, I promise you this, selling homes, remodeling jobs, roofing, kitchen and baths, any really high ticket consumer purchase in a slow market won't feel hard anymore. It won't feel like pressure. It won't feel like chasing. It won't feel like you're guessing what to say. It starts to feel effortless. Like you can sit down with a buyer, ask the right questions, and naturally guide them to clarity without forcing urgency or discounting. The cost of inaction reset is just one of the 7 tools that buyers respond to in low urgency markets. So inside the 5-4-3 factor conversion challenge, I'm going to teach you another tool. So check the description below and join us as soon as possible. And if you want to sell more homes without pressure, or sell more remodeling jobs without pressure, without discounting, and without losing sleep, make sure you hit like and subscribe. This is Jason Forrest. Push yourself to become a better version of you.